Hey guys, welcome to another speedy modeling tutorial kind of thing. Um, Today I've decided to create a fantasy sword like a weapon. Um, I started modeling before I get this concept that I'm using for the background, but I quickly realized that I'm not that good of a designer, so I quickly went to Photoshop and took some shapes and pieces that I had in my reference folder, and I created this kind of concept, if you can call it like that. I don't know. It serves the purpose for the tutorial, so I think it's gonna be fine. So yeah, I started modeling the blade, as you can see, and uh, I'm not gonna pay too much attention to keep the mesh all quads, as you're gonna see, because my intention is to model everything out first, and then in the low poly stage, and then when I'm gonna click smooth using Maya's smooth node, it's gonna sort out all the nasty geometry for me. So I found that really useful lastly, so I found that using quite a lot. So yeah, here I'm just extruding the shapes and moving vertices to match the form. uh, as you're gonna see, I'm not gonna stick with the concept 100%, just because it's not for a project or something where I have to follow the concept. So uh, I realized while I was modeling that some of the shapes are weak, so to speak, and they can be improved. So I'm taking creative freedom to experiment in 3D, and uh, I'm not I'm trying not to be a slave of my reference images. So yeah, here I'm gonna apply a bevel to the edge to give the sharpness that I'm going for, and a quick mirror, or I should say better, instance object. Maya doesn't really have a proper mirror, and yeah, just shaping and adjusting forms to get the proper look that I'm going for. Um, I'm planning to do a few part videos where I'm gonna in this part I'm gonna model the sword, and then I'm gonna go and create UVs in using Headers UV layout software. I don't really use Maya's UV tools much. I don't know, maybe it's a habit. I don't say they're bad. I just I don't use them. So yeah, so I was saying, in the second part I'm gonna go and actually create UVs, and then if I have time, I hope I will, I'm gonna go on ZBrush and sculpt this, and then bring it back in Maya and render it using Arnold. And I'm gonna try to cover everything on video. I hope I'm gonna have time to record all that for you guys. So these videos, they're gonna be spread about 500% maybe. Yeah, so the real length of this video was about an hour, 59 minutes or something. So if any of you guys interested in seeing the full length video, Just you can comment and let me know. I might put the slow version as well, but I don't really think that anyone is gonna sit and watch me modeling simple sword for an hour or something. Yeah. So yeah, here I'm emphasizing the edge, just so when we mirror, it retains the sharpness a little better. And in a second, I'm gonna make that instance. Actually, I'm gonna duplicate using Control D, and then I'm gonna switch it down when in the negative scale -1. I'm not gonna do instance on that because I want that to be permanent, that change. So yeah, here you can see me deviating from the concept to match the handle that I already had built before starting this tutorial. So yeah, and here I'm gonna emphasize that edge, and you can see clearly here I'm not paying attention to keeping everything quads and like I usually do, just because, as I said, I'm gonna smooth the entire mesh before UVing. And here is the mirror part. So yeah, I'm gonna throw a little lattice on the handle thing, and I'm gonna squash it down pretty heavily, just because when I started I had in mind to do something way different than this, but I saw this as opportunity to make you know, cool shapes, and I'm changing the geometry I already have, so I don't have to model everything. I'm really big fan of reusing stuff. Like this little piece here I already modeled, so and UV'd, so I'm just gonna place it there, and it's gonna give me some pretty big issues here with the handle, and I'm gonna have to figure that out, but I think in the end it's gonna look decent. May not be the best design in the world, but this is more of a modeling, not design thing, to be honest. So I'm not overly concerned about how beautiful design is gonna be. Obviously I want it to look good and all, but not too much. I don't care too much about it. So yeah, here I'm following the concept as best as I can. And here's another great example of reusing stuff. I just duplicated that medallion thing, the side row of polygons, and I just scaled it to match to create the medallion shape for the handle. So yeah, here I'm gonna experiment for a little until I find a good shape that's gonna match my taste a little better. At first I wanted to go like in, but after adjusting it a little, I'm gonna change my mind very soon. There you go. So yeah, just experimenting, trying to get something to work. You know, when you look at it, you know, on the concept, it's like, oh yeah, that's very easy to do, but when you go in 3D, you find yourself fighting with the shapes, trying to figure out what to do. Another example of reusing geometry to blend those middle medallion parts, thing, whatever they are. Yeah, so I'm gonna crease the edges using additional edge loops on the borders, and I'm gonna duplicate the blade, and I'm gonna experiment a little trying to get a shape that I like. So it's gonna be a little experimentation time, and finally I'm gonna settle on this. And yeah, just mirroring this part on the other side. Actually, because we duplicated the blade, that's already mirrored, so I just separate it and move it down, and I'm gonna bridge the edges now to create thickness. Yeah, just adjusting the shape accordingly. And we're almost done here. I'm gonna do a little bit of detail work on the handle that might even not be noticeable, but it's always fun to go and do some detailed work. I love doing details for some reason, even more than doing big modeling shapes. Even they're the most important in your model, because if your big shapes don't read well, then your details is gonna be lost pretty soon. But yeah, after I make sure that my details, my big forms are correct, I spend quite a lot of time doing details. So here, trying viewport 2.0, some ambient occlusion, distance ambient occlusion from the camera just to see if my shapes read well. And in a second, so we're gonna jump into the handle. There we go. I try to reuse this shape of the handle. I wanted to create something like a cross-hatched shape with holes for the grip, but when I tried to with the insert edge loop tool, you only have 10 edge loops to insert at once, and I needed way more, like 26 I believe, to get. So I'm selecting the vertices, the edges, and I'm extruding and converting to edge and deleting the edges. So I'm basically reversing the shape to get this hole like piece. I mean this piece with a lot of holes. So I tried to press the subdivision button here, but it says too many polys, and I'm gonna manually smooth this before UVing it. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna put UVs on this, just because it's detailed shape. And that's it. Thank you for watching, and see you in part 2.